On today's episode of the Shawn Show, we talk about the state of the WWE. I got some stuff to say. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Shawn Show. This is the very different type of episode for the Shawn Show, because this is about wrestling, professional wrestling. I normally, when we do the Shawn Show, I'm sure you guys are used to highly produced cuts and this and that, but I want this to be as real and authentic as possible. So the window's open, you're gonna hear car noises and stuff. I'm gonna take my hat off, if you don't mind, get a little comfortable, because I got some stuff I want to say. Now, before we dive deep into it, a few things I want to say, just in regards to my background, because it's always wise to, before you have these type of shows, to talk about exactly where you come from, what you've done, etc., etc. So I want to talk about where it started. I used to do podcasts. I used to do professional wrestling podcasts. I had the moniker back in the day as a man by the name of Makavoll, M-A-K-A-V-O-L-L. You can Google it. You'll see some old shows that I've done. I've been on numerous websites. Been on NoDQ.com. Been on WrestleZone for a bit. What was the other website? I think it was Elite World Wrestling or something. It's been a lot of websites I've been on, and I've done this. I've interviewed Terry Funk, Christopher Daniels. I'm just trying to think of stuff, because this was years ago. This was like 06, 05, 06, years ago. But the biggest experience I've had is being in the pro wrestling industry is being somebody that actually was in the business as a worker. I was a manager for a local promotion called GXW. It was located in Los Angeles, California. And our whole thing with that was we were, it was cool, the setup, because it was a ring, it was a wrestling show, and then you went in and watched the actual WWE pay-per-view. So I helped in terms of getting things together when it was the days of the show, so making sure everything was clean, making sure everybody was where they were. Sometimes I would call and they would ask me to find out the rate of a wrestler. Sometimes I would, I guess, help marketing, you know, passing flyers out, giving my input, I guess, on what things should say. But I was an actual talent. I was a manager by the name of Artemis Shannon Sinclair. Before that was Triple F. And my gimmick was, as you would expect it to be, I was Triple F, Artemis Shannon Sinclair. I was a bad guy. I was a bad guy. I was the black version of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That was my gimmick. So I worked with a lot of guys that are popular now. Biggest being the Young Bucks. And what was the ring announcer? There was a ring announcer for Alberto Del Rio. He was on our show. He was under a mask then at the time. So yeah, that's my background. So when I'm talking, I'm not just talking from a perspective of a fan. I'm talking from a perspective of somebody who's actually done things in the wrestling business. So just remember that when we have these conversations moving forward. But I have a lot I want to say, a lot I have to say, a lot that needs to be said, and it needs to be said right now, immediately. I think I'm gonna put my hat back on for this, because it makes me feel like, when I put my hat on like that, it makes me feel like I'm finna get down, if you know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying. I want to first touch, because this is all WWE based. I was going to talk about Impact, but I don't watch it, so I'm not going to sit there and lie about something I don't watch. But this is all WWE based. So I want to talk about the future of the WWE, because it seems as if on this day and age we are too much focused on the past. The WWE is really focused, and you're going to hear a lot of cars, because I think when I'm taping this, I think school is out down the street, so you're going to hear a lot of cars. So like I said, we will keep this as real and authentic as possible, right? Okay, so back to what I was saying. It's about building stars in the future. It's about creating something that not only lasts for now to create immediate income for now, but it's also about creating something that is going to create lasting income, lasting legacy, lasting impression to those who are fans of the WWE. My kids, I don't have any, but my kids, and then hopefully my kids' kids. You know, that's what it's about. It's about building a legacy. And at this point, it's very unfortunate that we're having this conversation about building a legacy when it seems as if the WWE is not focused on building a legacy for the next 10 years, but they're more so focused on building income for now. They're focusing on building income for now because they have not invested into building stars. There was a quote, I'm just paraphrasing, that I heard. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm gonna act like it's true, but there was a quote that basically that Triple H had stated that they cannot afford to build superstars like they used to, because no one can be bigger than the company. That was supposedly what the quote was. Now, you can't afford to do that, but at the same time, we have guys that are 50 some odd years old who are wrestling in prominent roles on pay-per-views. Guys in their 40s main eventing pay-per-views. You have the young guys who not really getting the opportunity, not on the main roster, not in a legitimate, interesting program, on NXT, on the indies, but yet you're pushing guys that are at a certain age for now. You know, wrestling back in the day used to be very simple the way that it was. Like, you would have the older guys putting over the younger guys. It was very simple. It was a 1-2 equation. The older guys putting over the younger guys. That's what it was about back in the day. Now it's no longer about that. Now it's about box office. You know, what can we do to create box office? What can we do to make people interested in watching this certain thing? And I would think now with the WWE, because you know, back in the day, those who were in the Attitude Era, grew up watching it, you know, pay-per-views were expensive. I'm just gonna keep it 100. Pay-per-views were expensive. All these pay-per-views that they have now, they didn't have back then. They had about maybe 6. Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, WrestleMania, later on In Your House, and I feel like I'm missing one. SummerSlam, Survivor Series, WrestleMania, In Your House, Royal Rumble. I'm sure I'm missing one, but let's just say it was 4. I'm not even going to add In Your House. When you had these pay-per-views that were major pay-per-views, it was a build-up to get to these pay-per-views, because for months the build-up was that these two guys were going to wrestle at this pay-per-view event, and these two guys were finally going to get in the ring, and these two guys were finally going to go at it. That's what it was about when it was time to build these pay-per-view events. You did not have the luxury then to gamble a lot, because people had to buy these pay-per-views. When the Monday Night Wars were up and popping, my mother used to say to me, she used to say, okay, you have a choice. You can watch either the WCW pay-per-view or you can watch the Monday Night Raw pay-per-view. You have a choice of either or. You can't watch both, but you have a choice of either or. The WWE pay-per-view or the WCW pay-per-view. So when the stakes were that high, you couldn't make a misstep. You couldn't put a guy out that you weren't sure was going to be the one to take you to the next level, because everything was a war. It was a Monday Night War. So you could not take somebody to the next level or do anything in regards to the next level. You could not do that. Now I'm gonna take my hat off again. Why? Because it got hot. You could not do that. Now, in the age of $9.99 per month, you have the opportunity of trying things, of putting the younger guys in programs, of doing maybe weird, maybe outlandish gimmicks just to see if they would catch on. You have the capability of doing that now, but you don't. Why don't you do that? I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna let that breathe for a second. I want you to come to your own conclusion. Right? I'll let that breathe for a second. Go ahead. Let that air out. Oh, air it out. Oh. All right. Now that I aired that out, why is that? Tell you why. The WWE is now a publicly traded company. Back in the day when we had these big four pay-per-views, or big five, it didn't really matter if you had somebody, you know, go over or not. Why did it not matter? Because the whole goal was to make the pay-per-view entertaining enough to want to watch the next one. That was the goal. If you look back in the day, a lot of these pay-per-view events, like, you know, sometimes it wouldn't be a straight up winner. Why? Because you were building a feud for the next one. Like Hulk Hogan, there was a program a while ago when Hulk Hogan was facing Earthquake. And Earthquake beat him, and he kept just, you know, doing his, I forgot the name of the finish maneuver. And if I forget it, it's okay. But he kept doing this splash, like this is Hogan, this is, yeah, I'm now doing my fingers. This is Hogan. Earthquake would run, boom, splash on him. He got up again, he would run, boom, splash on him. So he did it like 2 or 3 times, and that was a build up until, you know, the next pay-per-view, until Hogan got his revenge. That's what they would do. They didn't have the luxury at the time to depend on people, like I said, because it was about trying to get the best product out as possible. That's what it was about at the time. But they also weren't concerned about who won and who lost, because now we're going to extend that maybe a pay-per-view or 2. So the program's ending wasn't as big as it is now. You know, now it's about, okay, Roman Reigns has to lose. You know, now it's about that. Now it's about, oh my goodness, is Brock gonna get the title? Now it's about that. It's about the match itself rather than the program itself. So there wasn't really a focus or a need back then to try to take these superstars, these WWE or WWF at the time superstars, and put them into something that would make sense. There wasn't any need for that. Why? Because the goal was long term. This takes me back to my earlier point. My earlier point. We're in a day and age where they're looking at just the short term. And I am confused, as being someone that could subscribe to the WWE Network, could pay $9.99, could be the person that would want to prepay for the year. I'm confused as to why we're not focusing on long term. And long term means what? Long term means superstars. Long term means program. Long term means that we need to be able to bring somebody into the equation that is going to not only make the WWE money for now, but make money down the line. It is simple. The WWE needs to build superstars. They don't have them. They don't have them. Well, and again, I know you guys are going to argue that point. You're going to say, well, there's Finn Balor, there's Braun Strowman. I like Braun Strowman. I like Finn Balor. I don't like so much. Please don't, dislike this video because I said that. It's just my opinion. You got who else? That's Roman Reigns. All these guys. Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura. All of these guys are quote unquote superstars. But there's a difference between a Stone Cold Steve Austin pop, right? And a AJ Styles pop. When Stone Cold would come out, the crowd would lose it. When that glass broke, the crowd would absolutely lose it. You look, they just had the 25th anniversary of Raw. When that glass broke, bro, when that glass broke, homie, when that glass broke, when Rock came out, and you there, if you smell, la la la. When that happened, homie, when that went down, when those situations took place, then that's when you saw a superstar. And what makes it funny is that the formula is there, but we're not building people the same way. And we're not building people the same way for one very simple reason. I don't think the WWE, as this quote, which we're treating as real, is interested in building superstars anymore. I think they're interested in building entertainers that are going to get money for the short term. And that is the problem with the WWE right now. We cannot, under any circumstances, be okay with the WWE taking our $9.99, our what was $49, whatever it is a year. We can't be comfortable with that if they just keep pushing people from yesteryear in our face. And if you are going to bring people for yesteryear in our face, you need to bring them into a program to make the people from yesteryear, right, create the stars of tomorrow. We can use their expertise to help get these other guys over. We can use their ring generalship, which is made up a word, and their ring psychology to help put over somebody. We can create a program that's not only beneficial for the guy who's the icon or the legend, but something that's going to bring the newbie, the new guy, the guy that may have his third t-shirt printed up, compared to somebody who's had over 50 or 60 in 2 or 3 years. We want to be able to put that guy over and take him to the next level. So that brings me to the elephant in the room. Yes, there's an elephant in the room. I'm going to talk about the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Let that breathe. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time. Let me just first start by saying that. He is my favorite wrestler of all time. Over The Rock, over Stone Cold, over all of these guys, he's my favorite of all time. I really like Shawn Michaels. I had, for these old school fans, I had the Shawn Michaels heart glasses. They were heart glasses. I had the Shawn Michaels heart glasses. I had them. Yeah, I had them. I had Shawn Michaels action figure. Know that? I had the old school WWF ring with the red, white, and blue ropes. I had all that. When Shawn Michaels retired, I was very upset about it. But I said, you know what, Shawn? You deserve it. He gave us a lot of years of entertainment, and now it's time, well, not year, but years of entertainment, years of moments. D-Generation X, which is a huge part of his career. But like, I don't want that to foreshadow what he was doing when he was a Heartbreak Kid on his own. Like, I don't want that, like, you know, like the Razor Ramon ladder match. I don't want that to foreshadow that. Now, I've said all this to say this. I don't want to see DX anymore. I don't want to see the Brothers of Destruction anymore. I don't want to see DX against the Brothers of Destruction. Period. That's my preference. Am I going to enjoy the match when it happens? Absolutely. Are you going to enjoy the match when it happens? Absolutely. Is it going to be something I'm excited about? Absolutely. But if I had the choice, do I want to see that? Or do I want to see D-Generation X against the Shield? Do I want to see that, or do I want to see Braun Strowman against The Undertaker? Do I want to see that, or do I want to see Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Psychopath, against Triple H? These are things that I would prefer to see. That doesn't mean that the stuff that they're going to produce is going to be whack. It's not going to be whack. It's going to be good. But I prefer to see a mixture of old and a mixture of new. And that is why I felt that it is time to do a WWE State of the Union. The State of the Union is this. In order for us to continue being WWE fans, bringing our kids into the fold, paying the money on a monthly fee, going to these live events and shelling out all this bucks to go to these pay-per-view events, to go to the super showdowns, and to watch, to get up early and watch something in Australia, or get up early and watch something in Saudi Arabia. In order for us to do that and feel comfortable in doing that, you're going to have to build more stars. Because I'm tired of having to go and get John Cena for wherever he's doing and putting him on the card because we need star power. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of having to get The Undertaker and bringing him in and putting him on the card and putting him against somebody like Triple H. I'm tired of that. I am tired of having to do the same thing over and over and over and over again until these guys are 60 some odd years old, but yet we can't figure out a way to make Bray Wyatt a superstar. We can't figure out a way how to make Dean Ambrose one of the biggest heels in the company. We can't figure out a way how to take The Miz to the next level. We can't figure out a way, and that's the thing that's disappointing.